Who's better than us? Nobody!
Want to focus on the things that have made us good all year long, an intensity that they can't match. And the other thing is the ultimate disrespect is when somebody takes what's yours. And this is our game, so that makes it so personal. Dominate on 3. 1, 2, 3, dominate.
I need 60 minutes. 60 minutes to me. 60 minutes. No business, no mercy. Nothing but stop from the thought bubble. You got me. We're going to ring the bell. We're going to ring that championship bell.
Dig motherfucking dog!
The Orange Bowl is on Mitch Jeter's leg. Good snap, good hold, kick on its way, and the kick is good! Yes! Mitch Jeter, with 7 seconds left, gives the Irish a lead, 27-24. Notre Dame is on the precipice.
Notre Dame has won the Orange Bowl.
3rd and 16. Mahomes roll it out. Looking, firing, intercepted. Picked up by Cooper DeJean. Gets a block. DeJean is in. Touchdown.
The Philadelphia Eagles have won Super Bowl 59. They have beaten the Kansas City Chiefs.
And now, welcome everyone to the Huddle Up Podcast.
You are looking live.
Huddle Up Podcast. It is January the 20th, 2026. We are glad to be back with you for another week. We hope that you are well and staying safe and warm wherever you are, as it is quite cold in many places across the country right now. So hope you are doing well. Make sure you are following along with us live and all season long, and in the off season. Scan the QR code top right corner of the screen. You can get us on YouTube, Facebook, Blue Sky, TikTok, Instagram, Twitch, Twitter, and more. So make sure you go ahead and visit there. You can get our link tree in the episode description and all of our social media as well. We would certainly appreciate the likes, the follows, the subscribes, and all of that. You can grab our merch over on our TeePublic store. Plenty of offerings over there, and some sweatshirts. Everybody needs those these days. Sean, I don't know what it's like in Florida, but it is quite chilly in Pennsylvania today.
Yeah, I mean, for here, still quite cold. Today was pretty cool. I mean, it warmed up in the afternoon. That sun really helps a lot, but now it's dark again. Pretty cold. Sunday was way worse. Yeah, I took the kids out for breakfast, and it was sunny and warm when we left. Had the windows down. Chase is like, I think it's going to rain. And I looked out, and there was just a wall of black. And when that wall of black hit, the cold air came with it, and it dropped about 25 degrees. And then it was like, well, maybe we won't go to the pier today. We'll go to Sky Zone or something indoors. And,
probably a good choice.
Yeah, it was whipping up a gale. So
I assume your wind chill does not say 11 degrees though.
No. The wind chill might drop it 11 degrees. But yes, I think Sunday afternoon it got down to like 40 or high 30s. Was about with the wind chill, was about as close as it got. But
okay, all right.
But the humidity makes it feel cold. So it was nice for football. If you kind of opened the window, felt like I was back up north, so I was kind of rad.
There you go. I would say some of your Florida comrades down there probably didn't agree with you that it was
the teaching team is pretty miserable about the whole thing, and the school and the kids and everything else. Yeah,
every Floridian, I would imagine.
All of us. Yeah, they're pretty fired up about it.
Well, there you go. It is what it is. But we press on. Devin checking in with us. Does he hope everyone had a good weekend? Yeah, it was all right. Did some shoveling up here in PA. So
we definitely didn't have that.
You didn't miss that, Sean. So let's go ahead. Let's kick it off and get started for the week. All right. Each week we look back on the week that was and find the best thing that happened in the world of sports, world of football. Sean, what was your best of the week from this past week?
Well, obviously the pickings are slimmer, a lot less football to talk about. Yeah. I mean, there was some good stuff. I mean, I'm not going to go with the fans again this week, but I think the viewers got a pretty good show. Even in the one lopsided game, it was definitely not boring to watch. But that leads me to my honorable mention. With that blowout, I'm going to give my honorable mention to the Seattle Seahawks, who once again put a hurting on somebody, and this time had a quarterback that hadn't thrown a football in over a week, and came out with a game plan that required him to only throw 17 passes, completed 12 of them for 124 yards and a touchdown, and somehow still pummeled the Niners 41-6, not even giving up a touchdown. I mean, yikes. From the opening kick return for a touchdown, give it to the 12th man, because they got loud at that moment and they never stopped. But we'll see how next week goes. They get the one team that probably isn't afraid to play there. So we'll see about that. But the real best of the week, it's kind of an obvious pick, and I don't normally go college football, but I'm going to hand it to the Indiana Hoosiers, who complete the first ever 16-0 college football season, right? And
I think there's been some in like Division II or something like that, but I think this is the first in like an FBS.
Yeah. And obviously no chance to make it to 17-0, but ironic to complete a 16-0 season in Miami, with I'm sure some of the remaining Dolphins from their undefeated team watching that historic undefeated thing. But everything from silencing Ray Lewis and Michael Irvin on the sidelines to, I'm not going to take anything away from Miami. They played a tough game, but it was a very different game than what Indiana was playing, and it was a lot of stars. There were some, fortunate big plays, which is kind of their mantra, I guess. Get it in the hands of your stars and hope something happens. But Indiana just played college football. Good running game, good safe passing game, clever play calling, like they have all year, and I was really happy for him to see him come out on top. I'm gonna give it to Signetti and the Indiana Hoosiers, and congratulations. I'm sure that party's not going to be over for several days. It's a wild time in the Hoosier state for sure, but no doubt in my mind, for me that's the feel good story of the best of the week.
Yeah, I saw some clips of the people lining up in front of bars in Bloomington, like on Sunday night, like sitting out for a day, getting ready. So I'm sure the party will be going on there for quite a while. Devin has what's frustrated him. Apparently nothing good happened for Devin in sports this past week.
Sorry to hear that, Devin. How are you, bud?
Patriots have an easy road to make it to the Super Bowl. He said he is speaking from a Dolphins fan's perspective. I mean, look, the thing I will always say about this, I said it about the Eagles. I think it was 2 years ago when people were whining about how easy the Eagles schedule. You don't get to schedule your 17 games in the regular season. That's not something that teams get to do. And injuries, things happen. But there was a quarterback who played for a team in Philadelphia that reminded the world in a tweet this past weekend that New England has a history of losing to backup quarterbacks in championship games. So, look, we will certainly be previewing that game with the Patriots this weekend, and don't necessarily guarantee victory is all I'm going to say. But my best from the weekend, and I had the Seattle D as well, as you kind of mentioned. 236 yards allowed, 3 turnovers, no touchdowns against 2 sacks, 4 tackles for loss in that drubbing. So I kind of moved that to my honorable mention. Another one is people somehow just learned that Marcus Freeman is smart, articulate, well spoken from the pregame and halftime show for the national championship last night. Welcome to reality, folks.
Right.
Marcus Freeman, hell of a guy. Has a future in politics or sports broadcasting or whatever the hell that man wants to do. Hopefully, after many national championships in northern Indiana.
Yeah, hopefully no time soon.
Yeah, hopefully not. But my actual one, and with the Notre Dame attire on, Notre Dame alum Kyron Williams, 21 carries, 87 yards, 2 touchdowns, added 30 yards receiving in the Rams' 20-17 win over the Bears on Sunday night. Thrilling game there. His 117 yards, Sean, 35% of the Rams' yards.
They definitely had a game plan with the running game, and I know I don't know if Corum didn't look 100%. I don't know if they just had Corum's number, but between the two of them, pretty good game plan. And since you have your Notre Dame attire on, let's not forget that the play to send it to overtime, despite the tremendous play by Caleb Williams, also a tremendous fake to the middle of the field.
Sure was.
And a break back outside to be wide open by Notre Dame alum Cole Kmet as well. That was
heck of a play there. Colston Loveland had gotten banged up in that one, so Kmet came up big when he did. Yeah, Corum only 6 carries, 19 yards. The Bears did a heck of a job bottling him up. But they're two different types of runners. They've both thrived in that Rams offense, and I'm sure they'll both be called upon this upcoming weekend. But it was a heck of a weekend of football, and why don't we go ahead and talk about it, Sean? The college football season is now in the rearview mirror as the Indiana Hoosiers are your 2026 college football playoff national champions. You see the bracket there on the video side. Boy, did it feel good to gray out that Hurricanes logo, man.
I bet it did.
I am not gonna lie. I hated having to put it in there in the first place, and then it wouldn't go away, and then finally did. But a heck of a game, 27-21, and in a game that at times felt not that close. Miami, kind of made a push in the fourth quarter. Ended up falling short.
I feel like a lot of the second half was like Indiana creating a gap, and then like Miami shortening the gap, and then pulling away, and then short. It wasn't like I get within one score. I get that it's a game, but it's not like they pulled ahead and Indiana had to fight back or anything like that.
Yeah. Indiana was kind of in control most of the way. Just there was a short pocket of time. But really, when you kind of look at it, just there was the 2nd and 1 on that last touchdown drive for Indiana where they had the false start, and for the first time in the game, you thought, "Oh man, this one might be changing." And then, they end up going for it on 4th down. After putting the field goal kicking team out, calling the timeout, putting your offense back on the field, and not only do you get a first down, you get the touchdown, the game winner on the QB draw. Miami has an opportunity to come back and score, possibly win, as it was only a 6-point lead. But Carson Beck, as he's done the 6 losses in Carson Beck's career in college have all finished with a Carson Beck interception.
That's insane.
His 6 losses have all come with with basically the ball in his hand.
Well, I guess everyone has their signature play, everybody's got that,
I guess so. So I don't know what teams are necessarily looking for that, but a look, and I will get this out of the way. We've been We've been very critical of Miami and everything in the process. Miami proved that they belonged in this tournament, and it was never about Miami getting in. That was the problem. It was the process. It was the teams, honestly, it was the teams at 8 and 9 that I had more of a problem with. But it was the process. But Miami got in, as they probably should have been, maybe at or above us the whole time. And they proved they belong. You know, they beat every team in front of them. They beat 2 SEC teams. They beat the defending national champions, and they came within 6 of this national champion team who didn't have a blemish on their schedule. Mm-hmm. So I'll give all the credit in the world to the Miami Hurricanes. Like they earned what they got. We'll talk about Indiana, but Sean, any thoughts on the Hurricanes in their season?
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, like you said, it was more them, like kind of the way they got in, and if they deserved to be there, then they should have just been there the whole time. And it was just kind of this whole show, at the end, I wasn't a big part of. But yeah, you kind of look at the tournament as a whole, and I was kind of looking at it, and I was trying to remember, like, how many of these matchups were, like, great games. You know what I mean? Like, I was trying to look, and I mean, obviously you get some.
Not a lot.
No, there was a lot of laughers in the tournament, and, games with Ole Miss seemed to kind of, I mean, Miami had some close, I mean, obviously the Ohio State game was competitive, and I thought the Ole Miss one was for a while too. It just felt like, a lot of these teams had kind of fizzled out, you know what I mean? Like it just kind of run their course. So, I mean, I'm hoping as a whole, I fortunately for college football, they got a real good championship game. Like I know it wasn't back and forth, like, taking, lead changes, but at least it was a very competitive game, and it was exciting, and it was loud. And man, did you see the ticket prices that those seats were going for? Insane.
Absolute insanity. And the fact that, you're in Miami, and it was
4,000 some for the
it was
top
still
row.
Like 70, 4,000, and it was still 70% Indiana fans. I mean, people cashed in on this kind of once in a lifetime opportunity situation, and there's capitalism at work.
Right. And I think the one takeaway in that game and the play, I mean, obviously everybody talks about Mendoza's 4th down run and getting in the end zone. But I mean, obviously the turning point in that game, the point where it really was a special teams play. And I didn't really bring up last week, probably because Indiana had just smoldered Oregon, and I didn't really get to bring it up. But the one thing about this Indiana team and the coaching, that it's a complete program. Like the overhaul was in the entirety, like understanding the importance of special teams, setting up with good kick returns. The punter for Indiana in the national championship game had a couple of kicks that really, really put Miami's back up against the wall. Yeah. And one of them actually set that blocked punt up. When you factor in a team that plays as good as they do on both sides of the ball, and they're going to beat you on special teams almost every time, I mean, that's a true national champion. That's a team that's very hard to beat, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, and let's talk about them, and we're gonna look back in a minute once we close the book on this game, on our season predictions. Spoiler alert, not good,
not great.
And we'll kind of put a bow on the college season, and there's things we'll talk about in our off-season shows about how can college football change or fix things to maybe prevent some of these lame duck games in the postseason, but we'll get there. But Indiana, yeah, I mean, heck of a turnaround. Kurt Cignetti been there 2 years. Last year gets to the first round of the postseason. Y'all can Google. Everybody's big on Google now with Kurt Cignetti. You can Google who beat Indiana last year in the playoff. Last team to beat them, by the way. But I mean, just an unbelievable turnaround, and there's a lot of people want to kind of prognosticate and put put banners on certain things in certain ways, and some people want to say this is the best team ever. I don't think it's the best team ever.
Yeah,
but
that's not pushing.
No, it's a hell of a turnaround. And look, I understand that this turnaround doesn't happen in a pre-transfer portal NIL college football.
No.
But for all of the things that college football maybe currently gets wrong, seeing a turnaround like this is great. And I said this earlier to my wife. We were talking about how cool it is to see Indiana win. And you look at the last 3 years, the last three Big Ten or the Big Ten national champions, two of those three teams 5 years ago, you would not have 10 years ago, you wouldn't have imagined would be national champions. Like Indiana had never won one. And no offense to Michigan, they hadn't won one since, the mid 90s.
Right.
But, and it felt for a very long time, like college football was just stuck in this, this, here's your 4 or 5 best teams and you're going to like it and deal with it. And now we don't know what's going to happen. So for a lot of what college football gets wrong, this Indiana team and Kurt Cignetti and the way that they built this team, and, you can be mad about it if you want. It's the reality of where we are in college football. They built in the trenches. They built in the right positions on both sides of the ball and in special teams. And it resulted in 2 really great years of college football for the Indiana Hoosiers and a 16-0 national championship in beating good teams along the way and proving that they were there and deserved it throughout this postseason.
And that transfer portal is going to do the opposite for programs that aren't performing well or
right.
are crumbling, right? If you have a program that's crumbling, guys are going to leave. Like the attention span and the patience level of kids in the realm of like 18 to 24, I'd imagine is incredibly short, right? So
right.
They're going to look at what have you done lately, not, and props to, the Notre Dames and the Michigans and even the Ohio States and some of these schools that are still able to sell the tradition on top of it and kind of use that as, but I think you're using that more as like icing on the cake now. Like, hey, here's what we're doing now. Here's how fast you'll look. Here's how many times you'll be on TV. Here's your NIL money. Oh, and like you're going to get mentioned among some of football's greats. Like that's it's just extra now. I don't think people are shooting for it. But if people want to put best on this season, I'd go with what you're saying. I don't think this is just a good turnaround. This is by far the best turnaround in college football history. And like you said, the modern era helps that. But man, like a 2-year. Like, what was the stat you sent us in the chat that since in his 2 years, Cignetti is now responsible for 5%
of Indiana's
all-time college football wins?
Yeah, they've been playing since 1887,
which is insane. If you want to have any idea how bad Indiana has been over the course of history, like the Phillies take a lot of crap in Major League Baseball because they've played so long that they have so many losses. Indiana has all the losses, and they play way less games than the Phillies. Right. And so for him to come in and I mean 5%, what? Like you sent that and like that can't be correct. You didn't move a decimal point, but it definitely is correct.
Look, I didn't actually look it up to see if that is accurate, but it certainly could be. I mean, like it is unreal.
Know the history. I mean, even just in our lifetime, how bad Indiana was a laughing stock. Like that was like a team you scheduled on homecoming so you could kill them. And that's pretty much just how it is. And now all of a sudden, and I know we're not necessarily at one of the big takeaways, but one of my big takeaways for college football of the years, you look at the state of Indiana, and now that tiny state in the middle of the country has 2 very good football programs, which is something a lot of larger states can't say.
Yeah, and look, I'm not going to make this part of this segment about us.
No,
but yeah, I mean, you have the longest winning streak in college football, 16 games. The second longest winning streak in college football is 10 games, and it's the other team in Indiana.
They're both in Indiana. Sorry, Purdue.
And I jokingly tweeted out last night, like, congrats to Indiana and the second best coach in the state, on your national championship. And don't get me wrong, I do believe that Marcus Freeman is the better coach. But Kurt Signetti is already up there with the best. Now it's obviously a short window, and he's going to have to keep proving it. But there's no reason to believe, at least over the next 2 to 3 years, that he can't and they can't. So just an absolute a tremendous season from them and Mendoza. And look, you look at his numbers from last night: 16 and 27, 186 yards. He added a rushing touchdown. Now he shows his 7 carries for -8 yards, but I think college football does sacks as rushing yards, which never makes sense to me. But here's the thing: there was a few times in the game where a couple of passes almost went the wrong way. But early on, Miami was getting at him, hitting him hard, hitting him illegally, by the way. And I'm not going to make this about any officiating, but boy, was Miami getting away with quite a bit in that game, including what should have been a targeting penalty early in that game. But Mendoza again shakes it off. And, when they needed him the most, he proved that. Look, I still think Jeremiah Love should have been the Heisman Trophy winner, but so many times we have seen a Heisman Trophy winner come out and in their bowl game or a playoff game or national title game, and they almost tell you, maybe I didn't deserve this award. We didn't see that from Mendoza at all.
In any of their games, but especially in the biggest moments last night. So credit to him. Unfortunately for him, it probably means you're a Raider, but congratulations, kid, you earned it. You get that big money, and I also really was impressed by I know he didn't have any record-setting day, but the running back for Indiana, obviously the big touchdown came from Miami in the running game, but that kid can play.
Kalen Black, 17 carries, 79 yards. Roman Henby, 19 carries for 60. They moved the ball on the ground, and kind of kept Miami's playmakers. Now, granted,
and that's what I was going to say. They
Fletcher had the 2 rushing touchdowns, but Malachi Tony.
I alluded to Tony and the stars and the speed and the big plays. And if you have the ball, those guys can't do that.
Right.
So by churning a lot of clock and ironically, that's probably kind of the respect for Miami and the risk that you could let the game get away. Maybe part of the reason that game stayed as close as it did, because he was much more okay with just keeping them off the field and churning out points the old-fashioned way instead of trying to really hammer it home like he did against Oregon.
Yeah, and we saw the big strike at times with Miami. Time of possession 36-24 for Indiana, 23-36 for Miami, and I think that's it. That's a huge part.
Man, that Tony end around, man, that kid can fly.
Sure can. And you saw a 57-yard touchdown run by Fletcher, a 22-yard touchdown pass to Malachi Tony. So they had some bigger plays, quicker plays, and
it's barely 18.
Yeah, those were the points where you're like, man, Miami's really staying alive in this one. Like I said, credit to them. But Sean, any other thoughts on the game itself last night?
No, I think we covered it again. But props to Indiana, way to go! Unbelievable story for college football, and thank you for winning one for the good guys.
Yeah, absolutely, and man, I pulled up the season by season of the Indiana Hoosiers football, and there's not a lot of winning seasons there, Sean. So that stat about Kurt Signetti, that might just be accurate. I don't do the quickest math, but
what'd they do? They 16 this year. 16
this year, 11 last year. So he has 28. He's 28-2 in 2 seasons.
Okay, 28-2
or 27.
Right.
Yeah, 27 and 2 in 2 years.
Does your list say how many total wins the program has?
515. So let's
515. So take your 27 divided by 515.
Divided by 515. Yep, 5.24%.
Insane.
That's wild.
More than 5.
Yeah, that's a little north of 5%. Wow, that's great for
What's the
Signetti.
number?
That is
500 wins?
that is 500 wins.
Been playing since 1885.
It's 1887. I don't want to shortchange.
I mean, I know they didn't always play 16 games or 12 games, even 12 games. Obviously,
No. I
probably used to play 6, maybe 4.
yeah, Notre Dame's been playing since 1887 as well. Let's see how many wins.
So 515 is the number at
Notre Dame has 992 wins, by the way.
So almost double.
Almost double.
Oh God.
So we're gonna pass 1,000 wins next year.
That's pretty great.
Let me rephrase. We should pass 1,000 wins next year.
We should pass 1,000, assuming the NCAA lets us play, I guess.
Well, that's true. That's true.
Who knows?
We're not in a conference or anything. Yeah. Let's look back here. So I pulled the predictions, the college football prediction. You can go back, and if you want to go back and have a good chuckle, you can go back to the end of August and see our college football preview show where we give these full predictions. EJ had 2 exact picks. Now, again, this is your Power 4 conference champions, Heisman Trophy, your 12 playoff teams, semifinal games, national championship game, and national champion winner. EJ had 2 exact picks. The exact picks were SEC champion Georgia and number 2 seed Ohio State. He added Georgia in the playoff and Oregon in the playoff for 4 total picks correct.
That's more than most seasons. Way to go, EJ.
It's actually a new record for EJ. Mike had 1 exact pick that was Ohio State as your 2 seed. He added 3 more correct playoff teams: Georgia, Oregon, and unfortunately Alabama. For 4 exact picks, or 4 total picks. I had 0 exact, by the way. 0 exact. I had 4 playoff teams: Ohio State, Georgia, unfortunately again, Alabama, and Oregon. Now, Sean, you had 1 exact. You had Georgia as the 3 seed. Nice. But you added Ohio State. You added in the playoff, Oregon in the playoff, and Alabama in the playoff. So you had 1 exact, 5 total. You were the winner of all of those things we predicted. The winner has 5 teams. Nobody. EJ was the only person to have any conference champion predictions correct.
That's incredible.
Nobody got the Heisman. Nobody predicted the national champion.
I can't believe nobody had the Heisman. I mean, I know I took the Manning hype very literally. I bought in.
Me and Mike took Jeremiah Love. Me and Mike picked the guy who should have won it. He took Garrett Nussmeier from LSU, and you had Arch Manning. So
yeah, I remember Nussmeier was in, and early on, I thought he had it.
If you want to laugh about more predictions in hindsight, a few weeks from now, we will look back on our NFL prediction.
Should be
similar. Be similar. But Sean, now as we get ready to close the book on college football for the year, wild that we're at this point. What's your biggest takeaway from this season?
Well, I mean, the biggest takeaway, beyond talking about the playoff itself and the reorganizing it. I mean, the big takeaway is the transfer portal era is here.
Yeah.
We talked about some of the things that made it fun. The ability for the turnaround, kind of the unpredictability, no chance for schools to just kind of sit for just accept mediocrity. I don't think any of that's a possibility anymore. Now, what this might do is it might really destroy, let's talk about some of the negatives, might really destroy some of the middle ground in some of these conferences.
Right.
Where you have teams that are competitive but not winning the conference. The SEC's got a ton. Big Ten's got several. And you got teams that will challenge and might upset some people. If they're losing all their stars, they might not. And you're going to see these, I worry for the possibility of an almost Dodgers-like situation where if a school does have substantial funds that they could kind of buy stars from smaller places and just really build something special. But let's hope that kids in general just want to play and kind of don't take that money. The other negative, and it's an interesting story I was just reading before I came on, is out of Duke and their quarterback, Darian Mensah, who is attempting to transfer out of Duke despite saying he would stay for a second year.
Mm-hmm.
And Duke is arguing that he signed a 2-year contract, which gave them name and image likeness rights for 25 and 26. And so by him entering to leave, he's in breach of contract. And I've been saying this all year as people started entering. I'm like, what kind of things are these kids signing? It's not really setting them up much for like a future, especially in an industry that is all contracts, right? It's you get paid, you play. If you don't play well, you're gone. And your employer can terminate a contract at any time. You cannot, unless you're simply quitting, right? Like
Sure.
that's the only option you have. You can't be like, I don't want to play anymore for the Giants. I want to, you can demand a
You have
trade.
to do that before you sign, like Eli Manning did.
Right. You can, and teams, obviously players will demand a trade, but if the team doesn't want to, your only option is, well, then I'm not playing. Right. And then you're not making money. Right. So you're kind of setting this up. I think there's a lot of kids. And I think Duke's got a real strong case. Like, I'm reading it and I'm like, man, he might be in a little bit of trouble here. And if he does this, then I'd be willing to bet that there's dozens of those 6,000 kids of the transfer portal.
Well, like you almost had
did the same thing.
You almost had that similar situation with the I think, was it a quarterback about Washington who was coming back and then was transferring out, and then I think there was kind of a threat of a lawsuit, and he's going back. So look, yeah, it's funny. My a colleague of mine and I were talking about this today, and for as good as the environment of college football and the unpredictability of it, there is going to be an ugly side, and the college football hadn't put any guide rails or restrictions or caps on things. And I said to my colleague today, I said, look, I actually think that's a good thing, because we're going to see where the flaws are. Now, in the next probably 1 to 3 years, we're going to start seeing some perimeters put on this thing. We're going to start reeling it in. But to college football's credit, and we have said many times what college football does wrong, and rightly so. But what I think what they got right by letting it be the Wild West is because it allowed it to get as crazy it can get, and then you can reel it in by seeing where the mistakes are. The problem, if you would have put all the restrictions on at the start, and I know this probably sounds crazy to some people, is you put restrictions on at the start, and then you go, well, let's start loosening this up over here, and maybe let guys try and like push the limits over here, and eventually the levee breaks, and then you're trying to play damage control. Now it's like, look, it's been crazy since the beginning, so now we got to tighten up the contract thing, and we have to make sure that there's better control on what's happening with these guys once they sign their deals and this, that, and the other. So I'll be curious to see how this offseason plays out with it. But yeah, it's there's some ugliness. There is some ugliness.
And I don't want it to sound, I know I really pushed the negative there, mostly just because it's not something
we've never seen
are saying yet. They're not, everybody's kind of excited right now and kind of digging it. And I am all for these kids getting paid, and I am all for, guys that, had to sneak around and do it. Like, they should have been getting paid too.
Right.
Like, should Reggie Bush get his Heisman back? Probably. But
that's such a
it's
hard
one because
like,
of where the
rule
rule
wrong
was,
when he did it. Right. Like,
right. But he was just trying to do what everybody else was doing. And for kind of the future, I think it's something to keep an eye on, because they are contracts. And I kind of said that right from the get-go when the transfer portal started blowing up. I was like, well, aren't these guys getting paid by the school they're leaving? Like, are they 1-year deals? And then I realized they weren't. And I'm like, how is this even legal? Like, how is nobody suing these guys? And, it's probably something that's going to have to go way farther into the verbiage of like, I mean, they're going to have to put it plain and simple. Like if you breach this contract and you don't stay in this, especially guys that are doing like market deals, like in the Southwest or something, and they have a deal with a company that's only there, transferring to like Michigan doesn't help them.
Right.
And so now you've breached, and so I think they're going to start putting stuff in where like, we'll pay you this much money, but if you leave early, we're going to want that money back.
Right. Yeah. And that's, that has potential for,
or backload most of the money, like where you're not going to get it until the end of that second year. You're going to get enough to live on, and then the big money is at the end. And if you breach contract, we don't have to give it to you.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's definitely going to be something to watch.
And then the new companies will have to buy out, and there'll be like a whole thing.
Yeah. And it's something we'll definitely keep an eye on. And if and when the time comes, we'll talk about that in an off-season show for sure. But kind of along the lines of what you said with just where we're at in college football. There's kind of two takeaways, and I think they're kind of like connected. One, the power shift in college football. We've kind of wondered when Michigan wins, like, oh, it's not an SEC team. They didn't play last year. We didn't see an SEC team in the championship game. This year, again, 3 years in a row. Not only did an SEC team not win, they weren't even in the final. So I feel like the power shift, and I'm not necessarily like sitting here being like solid stamp, concrete posts in the ground, not even budging, like Big Ten's best conference in college football. I think they are there. I think the gap is tight, and the foundation is still hardening a bit. But I think the power shift is kind of in the rearview mirror. But along those lines, kind of connected. My biggest takeaway and seeing how the playoff thing played out, and we've had our gripes with them. Not going to rehash any of that, but I think a playoff expansion is inevitable. Whether it's this offseason or next, I think what you saw with Notre Dame, BYU, I still don't think Vanderbilt really had a strong case, but Vanderbilt, and not that a 3-loss Texas team had a case, but Texas being left out, Tulane and James Madison getting in. Look, again, I don't fault them. They did what they had to do. They got in fair and square. But the way this whole thing played out, and the fact that over the 2 years, the 12-team playoff, you've had one team with a bye advance at all. Now, granted, they went on to win the national title this year. I think you're going to probably see an expansion so that there's either less or 0 teams with a bye, because when you're sitting around for that long, you run the potential of not being able to get up off the mat when those games start. I'm not saying I want an expansion. I think 12 is the right number, but based on the things that we've seen over the last 2 years, we're going to get one. And it could possibly come as early as next year, although some of those negotiations have not materialized. So it probably won't be next year.
Well, and I think that as far as the buys go, I think a lot of times, like even when you go down past 2 and you're at like 3 and 4, right? Like those teams typically are not the 3 and 4 that have been there all year.
Right.
They're teams that got hot. They kind of taken over the reins there. And so to ask them to sit in the middle of a run, I see what you're saying. And it's the kind of thing where if you wanted to give like maybe make it 2 sides and play in kind of thing and give one bye on each side, like to your 1 and 2, maybe that's the case, because those teams a lot of times have been sitting there for a while. Right. Yeah, I mean, some teams are going to benefit it and some don't, but that happens at the NFL level too. But yeah, you just kind of have this wall of buys in the middle of it, and it's a little strange to not only look at, but to expect a lot out of. Like you said, not every team's going to respond well to it.
No, absolutely not. But man, it was a wild year of college football. Certainly would have wished at least one thing would have went a different way, at least at the beginning of the month of December. But a heck of a year. Congratulations again to the Indiana Hoosiers, your 16-0 2026 college football playoff national champions. But let's move on here, Sean. We'll look at the NFL playoff bracket as we get ready for conference championship weekend. And we have 4 teams remaining. And kind of we'll do the same thing we did last week. What was your biggest takeaway from divisional weekend?
The biggest takeaway from divisional weekend is that, yes, defense wins championships, and that's very evident. But an offense can sure as shit throw one away. It's kind of one of those where, you had a team in Buffalo where a lot of pressure's on the offense to make up for a mediocre defense. And Josh kind of showed that even though there's pageantry there, if he makes too many errors, it almost sets up his defense for an impossible situation. And that's kind of what happened in Houston. Good Lord. Anytime it looked like the Patriots were human and they had kindly figured something out, all they had to do was just put a hand in CJ Stroud's face, and he made some of the worst decisions I'd ever seen. So, man, I feel for the kid.
This guy sucks.
He's in a bad spot, both contractually, kind of just like appearances, and generally just having to deal with this, and the fact that everybody's blaming it on him, and it's hard not to.
Right.
Unless you're going to blame it on the turf that Nico Collins slammed his face into, that'd be the only other thing. But I thought his receivers played real well. I saw a lot of guys open. The tight ends looked good. I thought the running game was fine. It's what you kind of would expect against the Patriots. But man, just any type of pressure, and he would try to do something. So, I'm not going to say the Patriots didn't win with defense, but they definitely got a gift, because I think as a whole they had trouble moving it against Houston. Houston was forcing takeaways. They're doing everything they could. But when you force, 4 turnovers and the other team forces 6, there's only so much you can do. But yeah, I think it sets up for a pretty entertaining 4. I don't know. I can certainly tell you this is nothing that I predicted at the beginning of the year. So, congrats to that. Maybe one of the 4. I don't even remember what I picked.
Yeah, I don't have them in front of me.
I'd say I do love me some Sean McVay offense and good defense. So there's a chance I had the Rams close to this point, but otherwise,
possible.
Nope.
Yeah, I feel like not many of us had Broncos Patriots.
I'm pretty sure I had the Rams winning the West, so that was already wrong. And then from there, who knows?
Yeah, it's anybody's guess. Like I said, we'll glance back at that once we get post Super Bowl. For me, I said it in our huddle up group chat that the Bears, the Bears are going to be a problem. I think you were the one to correct me and said they already are. But in year one, you look back to where this team was at the start of the year, kind of stumbled out of the gate week 1. They had a dominating win over the Cowboys, and I think it was week 3. And at the time I was like, God damn, what an embarrassing loss for the Dallas Cowboys. And in hindsight, I'm like, it wasn't good to get blown out in Chicago.
Yeah, it's never good for that to happen. Yeah.
But in hindsight, it's like, wow, you got your ass kicked by a team that was pretty damn good. And because we'll certainly talk about the teams that are still playing when we get to our predictions here in a minute.
If your goal is to get your offensive wheel spinning, that Dallas defense is a pretty good fire starter, I guess.
Yeah. When you look at the teams that got eliminated, again, Houston feels like they have a lot of problems. Buffalo now doesn't have a head coach, and Josh Allen comes short again, and the 49ers, now granted aided by injury, but got absolutely nuked off of that field. Like the Chicago Bears, they took a team that a lot of people have as the clear-cut best in the NFC, and the Bears aren't going to stand a chance. And granted, for a couple of quarters and multiple interceptions, you got to clean that up. But for a guy that's been as criticized as Caleb Williams has, and I'm not saying he maybe didn't deserve some of it, but his first year with adults in the room and the coaching staff, and the change from week 1 till the NFC divisional round has been tremendous. And you see the weapons he has on offense, And if they continue to do that and they continue to remain creative, which with Ben Johnson leading that team, I have no reason to believe they won't. Like the shift in the NFC North, like everybody was like, man, this is the Lions division, and can the Packers get into
the Bears are just the Lions,
and like what are the Vikings going to do? You know, like, you know, is JJ McCarthy going to be, man, dude? The Bears are the favorite for that division next year. I don't care what anybody says. Like, you lock them in as the favorite.
I think the experts will still like the Packers. I don't know.
They probably will, but it's the Bears. So like my biggest takeaway, apart from the teams that won, is the Chicago Bears should hang their head high, because I mean, granted, you don't want to lose. It stinks. But but man, they did a hell of a lot more in this season than anybody was going to give him credit for sure.
Well, yeah, and I think Ben Johnson, it's also like, in addition to like Caleb Williams, there's a lot of other young guys that have emerged on that team, not just on offense but defense. And you have guys, like Luther Burden that's starting to step up, and you have some of these young receivers that you're going to need to kind of take over. And Monungai in the backfield, boy, did he turn into a godsend, and really set Ben Johnson up for that kind of lightning and thunder, mimic what he had in Detroit kind of thing with Swift and him. That really worked out to one of his strengths. And then, just like in Detroit, a very good blocking tight end in Kmet, and what has developed into a very reliable target in Loveland. And all of a sudden there's weapons everywhere.
Yeah, look, when the Bears made that pick for Colston Loveland, a lot of people were like, what the hell are they doing? Tyler Warren's still there. And look, not to steal Kyle's gimmick here, but like,
I tried to tell you, but you wouldn't listen.
Like, Colston Loveland, I've watched, again, more Michigan football over the last decade plus of my life than I ever thought I was going to. And Colston Loveland was a game changer at the tight end position for Michigan. I knew that's what he was going to bring to this offense. And knowing what Cole Kmet is, he can catch passes. He's proven that. But he is more of a stay-at-home block, kind of safety net tight end, where Loveland's a guy that's going to get out in space, and he's going to catch pretty much everything that comes his way. So,
they wanted more of a playmaker, split out,
and that's
creative play kind of tight end. Whereas, Tyler Warren's more for that situation of, you need is he a better all around tight end? Probably, if you factor in the blocking game. But they didn't need it. They didn't need that position.
No, they had that already. Tyler Warren is a better Cole Kmet. Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? But that's not
appears substantially.
Yeah,
sure.
I love Cole Kmet, but yeah, he does have his limitations. But all right, let's move on here, Sean. Let's close the book on the divisional round, and let's look ahead now to the conference championship weekend. Only a few games left in the NFL season. It is very hard to believe. But we have made it to the Final Four. Both of these games are on Sundays. So non-football fan wives and husbands everywhere are rejoicing because they have Saturdays back, because NFL is on Sunday only again. These games, we'll start with the first one, the AFC title game, 3:00 Eastern time on CBS. It is the 16-3 New England Patriots, a 5.5-point road favorite at the 15-3 Denver Broncos. Your over/under on this one, Sean, 41.5.
Yeah, and I'll say this: if you love the Broncos, or you want to put your money on Denver, I would wait. I feel like 5.5 is going to be very appealing to the people that don't think they can win with Steedham and think that New England's going to run away with this thing. I would let the Patriots fans bet this for a little bit and kind of tease that number up a skosh. But if they do, and you can get that number to a touchdown or just over, I would not feel terrible about that Broncos pick to cover 7 points. People have just given up on this team. They're like, nope, this team can't win. It's backup quarterback. Bo Nix is dead. So's the season. Tra-la-la-la-la, right? everything we saw with that Houston game, if C.J. Stroud doesn't make the mistakes that he makes, I think Houston rolls in that game. I think the mistakes were taken the wrong, and all he had to do was hand the ball off and throw safe passes. And I think they're right here in this boat instead of New England. So I am going to take the Broncos. I am going to go out on the limb, and I'm going to believe that defense wins championships. And I'm gonna rely on a guy. I'm gonna rely on a guy that hasn't played quarterback in several years, but when he has been safe. He's a guy Bill Belichick liked. Usually tells you that he's a pretty proficient guy, not able, good decision maker. And I don't think I don't think Peyton's going to ask that much out of him. He's going to design plays to his strengths. He's going to design some trick plays, and I think you're gonna really see him open the playbook because no one gives him a chance. So at the very least to cover 5.5, but I'm going to take him to win, and I'm going to keep it under that 41.5 because it's a defensive show.
Yeah, look, Stidham, nobody's going to confuse him for a career starter, Hall of Fame or anything like that. Has 4 career starts. He's 1-3. But in those games, you look back to the year in Vegas, although he was 0-2 as a starter, 64% completions, 4 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. He's 8-8 total touchdowns and interceptions. But it got better as his limited work had gone on.
And I didn't get to say, but Sean Payton chose him as the backup,
correct.
Right?
Correct.
He's got a younger rookie. He's got a younger quarterback at the 3rd string. And let's be honest, like for a while there, he could have chosen someone else that wasn't on the roster. And he likes him in the system.
Yeah, for sure. But here's the point. Like a game is not won and lost by a single player. I understand, obviously, quarterback is an important position. But, a lot of people want to talk about this New England defense and how good this New England defense, and they are. But bet the under. The under is the play. If you're touching this game at all, bet the under. Because if there's a defense that in the AFC that is better than New England's, it's Denver's. Points per game. 18.3 in the regular season. That's better than New England. They've only gave up 311 points in the regular season. Yards per game, Denver's defense was the 2nd best in all of the NFL in the regular season. So, like, if you're asking a team to do something, that this is your opportunity. It's a team effort. Again, the 2018 Philadelphia Eagles are kind of a blueprint for a team that can win with a backup quarterback. And no, Philadelphia, I'm not saying Jared Stidham is better than Big Dick Nick, okay? Like I'm not necessarily saying that. Good. But I'm like, but what I am saying is it's doable. If Stidham doesn't throw the game away, you're going to be in play. You're going to be in play. You have talent in the backfield. You're good in the trenches. You have a great defense, good special teams, and you're at home. You played the right to earn this. So, look, I think Denver, even at 5.5, I think they cover. At the very least, they cover, especially if that line moves to like a touchdown. Grab it, run with that, but bet the under. I think New England probably ultimately wins the game, but it's going to be tight. It's going to be tight because it's going to be a defensive matchup, and they can get New England to make mistakes. I mean, look. New England looked great because Houston gave the game away. Look to the week prior. You had a broken Chargers team on both sides of the ball, and it was 16-3, and the Patriots only scored to start pulling away late. This team has the potential for loss. So, give me Denver to cover and the under in this one. And then, Sean, we go to Sunday evening, 6:30 Eastern time on Fox. It is the 14-5 Los Angeles Rams. They travel to the 15-3 Seattle Seahawks. Devin has the Broncos in the AFC title game. Seahawks 15-3. They are at home. They are a 2.5-point home favorite. You're over under 47.5.
I mean, I will say this, looking at it, the whole championship Sunday, whether or not it's 1-2 versus 1-2, you have the two best records in both conferences, right? You got 1-2 in the AFC, and even though the Rams are the 5 seed, they had more wins than the Bears and the Eagles, who had 11 wins. The Rams had 12 coming in. So, if anything, the bracket figured it out. We got them all in there, and unfortunately for the Seattle Seahawks, who have looked tremendous despite the health of Sam Darnold, despite anything else, any type of is there any type of lag from having the bye week? The answer was no. It was pedal to the floor right from the get-go. Unfortunately for them, this is the one team that I think is not fazed by the 12th man. I don't think Matt Stafford's scared of it. I don't think Sean McVay's scared of it. I think, if anything, the 12th man's a little more nervous. This is the one matchup that probably scared them a little bit, and I think that 2.5-point spread says a lot, the way they've been playing. I think that the Seahawks are keying on Nakua. I think it's going to be a Devontae Adams day. I think it's going to be another Kyron Williams day. And I think Matt Stafford's going to have himself not like a record-setting day, but one of those days that he's in control and he tries to keep another team out. He loves silencing a road crowd, and he's going to do it. Give me the Rams to win this game and head to the Super Bowl. And at 47.5, I think this goes over, despite the fact that both defenses are very good. I think it pushes just over because there's enough firepower in both offenses to do it.
Yeah, it's going to be really, really interesting to see how this game shakes out. Two very good teams. Will probably be the more exciting game of the weekend, I think would be fair.
Yeah, definitely.
And overall, probably the better game just because of what the limitations are going to be for the Broncos. But I think Seattle being at home, I think is going to be a huge part. And not that the Rams can't go on the road; they're probably not super scared of it. But Seattle's really feeling it, and my wife sent me a video. It's that. Every year they've elected a new pope. The Seahawks make it to the Super Bowl, so they have fate on their side. They have history on their side. They have the 12th man on their side. The fear, Sean, is because he looked really good last week, right? Sam Darnold looked really good.
Sure did.
Everybody's like, shake the demons of what happened at the end of last year away. But here's the problem. Bad Sam Darnold's still in there.
It's shaking around.
Is this the week where he reappears? I don't think it is. I think he's going to prepare and he's going to be ready for this moment. The strained oblique looks like it's in the rearview mirror. Almost didn't play last week. But whatever, they put in those shots before the game work out pretty well. So yeah, I think Seattle gets this one. The wildest part, even at 2.5, like I wouldn't be shocked to see the Rams cover. Like this could easily be a 2 or 1 point game. But I'll take the Seahawks even to cover, even in that tight window. I will also take a slight over because these offenses are high powered. They're gonna find gaps, and really, I mean, to hit the over, it's 24 points aside. Like that's not a ton of points in a 4-quarter game. So. I think we will get the over in this one. Devin has the Seahawks and the under. So
if the Seahawks are going to win, a part of me wants that oblique injury to reappear so that it could be a Drew Lock, Jarrett Steedham potential matchup of the Super Bowl. Just really blow away the sponsors, Like play some good old fashioned defensive football.
Or God forbid, the Rams win and Stafford gets hurt. Like who even is the
Jimmy Garoppolo?
Is it Garoppolo's the backup?
They have Stetson Bennett in the wings, but Garoppolo's
the actual backup,
as he should be. If I had Stetson Bennett and Jimmy Garoppolo, I'm giving it to the guy that's done this before.
Yeah. Give me a Jimmy G, Jarrett Stidham.
Dope. Two former Tom Brady backups.
My God, and
Tom Brady calls it. I don't even know if it's the right network with the Super Bowl this year.
No, I think the Super Bowl's on NBC.
It's
So,
just I would
unfortunately,
love
we have
to
to
see
hear Chris
Tom
Collinsworth.
Brady
Here's a guy.
calling a Super Bowl between Jarrett Stidham and Jimmy Garoppolo. That's an all-time dream, and it can't happen. But
I think the beauty of the Super Bowl being on Fox or on NBC is you get the Peacock option where you can mute the broadcasters.
Yeah.
So, but then you don't.
Also,
hear
you can feel free to do that with this podcast as long as you keep watching.
But then you're only seeing us. That's probably worse. But the shitty thing is, and you mute Mike Tirico. Like, can I have an option where I just mute Collinsworth? Like, it just sounds like
like a left mute, right mute,
right? Like Tirico's just calling a game, like in his
like
room.
they just have all the mics listed there, and you just turn off the one button.
Collinsworth. That would be using technology to its best. That's what that would be. All right, Sean, let's go ahead and look at the power rankings for the week. Obviously, as we're getting closer to the end, the rankings list. Oh, wrong one. Let's get that. There we are. Fire that producer. We're gonna fire him. Make sure he's not on this show anymore. But only 4 teams left. So the graphic looks a little bit different. But Sean, go ahead and give us your how the 4 shake out.
Right. Well, obviously the loss of Bo Nix played very dramatically into the 4th spot here. Denver Broncos, then the New England Patriots. So the AFC below the NFC on my list. Then the Seahawks at 2, and Matt Stafford, your true MVP, and the Los Angeles Rams at number 1.
There you go. EJ has Broncos 4, Patriots 3, Rams 2, and Seahawks at 1. Mike has Broncos 4, Rams 3, Patriots 2, and Seahawks 1. As do I. I have Broncos, Rams, Patriots, and Seahawks. So
you're with
all
Mike.
of us
I'm
agree
with
the
EJ.
Broncos are the lowest. That's the easy one. But you have the biggest discrepancy. You know, EJ has the Rams at 2. Mike and I have them at 3, but you have them at 1. Why 1?
Well, I felt the Rams and Seahawks were stronger than either of the AFC teams, so I knew they were 1 and 2. But I also knew I was going to pick Matt Stafford and the Rams to go into Seattle and win because I think they're a deeper team. I think they're stronger, and I think there's a little bit more veteran presence there that have done this before. And because of that, I thought it would have been silly to put the Seahawks ahead of them and then pick the Rams and talk about how much I thought they were gonna go in there and scare Seattle. I would assume that this means that EJ's with me on the NFC being better than the AFC right now. But I would assume it means he would take Seattle. Unfortunately, with EJ, that doesn't always translate, where he'll be like, I got the Rams at 4, but they're going to upset the 1. And you're like, then they're not the 4.
Right. Then I don't think you understand.
I don't think you know how this works.
Who do you trust? Who do you trust?
Josh Allen's who he trusted last week. 5 interceptions. Kiss of death.
Yeah. Oof. Yeah, he's good at that. He is good at that. Yeah, EJ, give me just your thoughts on the Rams.
Well, I don't get man cold, but
and
point.
What about the Patriots?
Yeah, you got all this stuff going. You go what?
All right, well, it's
good analysis of Drake May's play last week. That was very good.
It's a really good point. Yeah, look, and I kept the Patriots because I did have the Patriots above the Rams last week, and granted, a lot of what happened with what the Patriots did had a lot to do with what Houston literally threw away. But again, the Patriots defense was there, and they were in position, and they, so they didn't do enough to fall back. And so the window is really tight in the top 3. Unfortunately for Denver, until we see what a Jarrett Stidham offense looks like, I can't put them above anybody.
Yeah, and I can defend. I just said how I couldn't put the Rams below the Seahawks because I was going to pick them to win, whereas I picked the Denver Broncos despite the facts I put them at 4. I think it's a deeper roster. I think it's a well-coached team. I think it's something that's a skosh more proven to me. But from a power ranking standpoint, it's very hard to take out your leader in the locker room, even if I think there's a shot that they win. Because Broncos defense is hard to crack. and not a lot of guys can do it, but Drake may. And I had to get that joke in. I've been dying to do it. Drake may.
Drake may.
You think it can't be done, but Drake may. I think it's it's kind of thing.
Yeah, and
I'm gonna get a shirt made of that.
Just like his picture, it's like you think.
I think I want it though. I want more of a Philly take on it, which is Tom Brady never let you down, but Drake may.
There you go.
I feel like that's a really good.
That's the shirt.
That's the shirt.
I think there's even like a picture I have of him of where he's like calling an audible and he's got like both arms up and he just kind of looks a little like dopey and confused. I think that's that. I might, if I can find the Patriots font, maybe that'll be the newest shirt. Check back on our T Public store. If you're on the video side, go ahead and scan that QR code. Give us a couple of days, maybe into the weekend. We'll get it up there, but always check back on the store. But yeah, you like, and here's the thing, like, when you put the Patriots above the Broncos, be picking the loot, like that's in a nutshell what this season has been. Like, if it seems predictable, if it seems obvious, it's probably going to go the opposite way, because this season, both the NFL and college, but this season in the NFL has been insane. I mean, we joked going in like that, the Rams were going to run away with that game against Carolina, and they almost fucked around and lost. So like, nothing. The sad thing, nothing would surprise me at this point with the NFL season. But anything else on the rankings, as small as they are?
No, I think it's at least much easier to decipher EJ's madness with 4
it
games.
is. It's getting easier. Now next week when he has the losing team in the AFC title game still in the rankings, that'll make it more difficult. But
yeah, that'll be awkward for sure.
It will be strange. But all right, Sean, let's go ahead. Let's get ready to close this thing up and do it the only way we know how.
You better lock it up. You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. You lock it up. Lock it up. Lock it up.
We look ahead to the weekend, and again, these football weekends are getting shorter, smaller. What will happen this weekend, Sean?
It's obviously not a lot of things to choose from. I've already called the games, so I can't really do anything there. But let's go with all the talk about the number one seeds and how powerful the kind of the favorites going in, how powerful the Patriots defense is, how powerful the Seahawks defense is. I'm going to go out on a limb and say the two teams I picked to win, the Rams and Seahawks, will win because those two teams will each lead the takeaway battle in those games. The Broncos will out-duel in the turnover game the New England Patriots, and the Rams will out-duel that Seattle defense in Seattle. And takeaways will be what drive the teams to the Super Bowl.
So honestly, I always write two down just in case I need to. Both of them are defensive takeaway in nature.
That's nuts.
It really.
I made mine up on the spot.
Yeah, but so I'll go with this one. It's more of kind of a bold. I didn't hit your lock on that one.
Lock it up.
There we go. My bad. But I have this, and it was kind of the point that I hammered home. I was kind of getting a little like wavery, and I never made a full on victory prediction because I knew where it was going to be. The Denver Broncos will have 3 either defensive or special teams touchdowns in their win over the New England Patriots. So I also have the Denver Broncos going to the Super Bowl. So maybe that's for my friend Kyle, who won the last place Divas title in my fantasy football league. He's a Broncos fan, and I texted him on Sunday night, and I went, "Buddy, I'm really sorry." And I was like, "What's that even like to get back to the AFC title game, but now not have your quarterback. And he was just like, yeah, I was really happy about the win for about 30 minutes, and now I just feel sick. So reach out to your Broncos fans, friends.
Yeah, my man Jake is a Broncos fan, so I texted him. I'm sorry about the Knicks, man. That blows, you know. Yeah, and he's like, so stupid. He's like, I'm the biggest Ellinger fan, though. I just learned how to spell his last name. And he's like, oh shoot, but it's Steedham, so I'm an idiot, and we are ducked, which I'm pretty sure was autocorrect. I don't know what ducked means, but I assume that's not the word he meant to type.
Oh no, we suck again.
We ass.
We ass.
All right, Sean, let's go ahead. I will say this. I'll put this out there. We will be off next week. We traditionally take off Pro Bowl week. We don't predict the Pro Bowl or anything like that. So we'll be off next week. We will be back in 2 weeks to preview the Super Bowl, the last week of the football season, the last game of the football season for the year. We'll have one more live episode after that for the wrap up, and then we'll take a couple of weeks off, go into our off season program. But always stay tuned to our social media. Rashawn, let them know where they can follow you.
Well, lately you can follow me to Buffalo Wild Wings on Sunday, or just hit me up on the Twitter at Sean Shine State. You can definitely follow me there. We get some pretty funny memes up there. Been starting to post some baseball and hockey news and such on there in addition to football as the football season winds down. So that account will keep on going. You stick with the Sean Shine State and we'll keep you laughing and informed. Other than that, I'm going to still say go Birds. But anyway, enjoy the games this week, guys. Be safe out there.
Yeah, I mean, daily on the Preston Steve Show in Philly, they still end the sports report with the Eagles are your Super Bowl champions. They're the champs until they're not.
That's correct.
So I remember that one time from right there, 2018. What a year it was. But you can follow me at Big Jim Sports on Twitter and Blue Sky. But most importantly, make sure you are following along with the show. If you're on the video side, scan the QR code top right corner of your screen. That'll get you to our link tree, get you all of the social media links, merch links, all of that. You can get those in the episode description, all of our social media as well. So it's an easy click, but you can get us on Facebook, Blue Sky, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Twitch. Subscribe to the YouTube. Been getting a lot of feedback and interaction on there. Grab your merchandise and enjoy the games. Potential for some big snow, like 40% of the country over the next 7 days. So if you're in the path of that, stay safe. Everybody stay safe, stay smart, and as always, go for the win.